no stopping us. Fly without boarding pass. Couldn't catch me, I be moving fast. Call me a shooting star. Let them know who you are. Flying up in a bar. Wish on a star. Time to show them who's in charge. Call me a shooting star. Shooting stars. Didn't even get to cross. I said I'm moving too far. Get to glass. You're looking at a shooting star. Got more than a couple of people going mad. I swear they're rooting hard. Tell them I be big in the game like she went and got them breast implants. I said I'm moving too fast. Didn't even get to glance. I'm ready to eat up track like I'm seated in a restaurant. If you had swag like mine, you know it's best to flaunt. We aren't hating because you aren't. Shining like it's neon. Rock like kings of Leon. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate, I'm with my strategy. When I turn up, them amateurs have to leave. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate, I'm with my strategy. When I turn up, them amateurs have to leave. Yeah, shoot. Yeah.
Hello, all you beautiful people. Welcome back. I am your host, Jaron Bell, this evening, and welcome to Overwatch Wednesdays here at the NECC. I have a very special guest with me tonight. I am so excited. Right below me for the first time, ladies and gentlemen, say hello to Yelkreb. Yelk, what's up, my man?
What's going on, Jaron? It's going to be an absolute barn burner of a game. I'm looking to see the playground offense from both sides, and I can't wait to watch it get rolling.
Oh, man, it's going to be a fantastic matchup. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Carrol University comes into this match tonight at 2-1 to face off against a team that is trying to bounce back in Central Methodist University. Now, Yelk, this is your first time here at the NECC, but I know that you've been paying attention. How excited are you to get involved here in this collegiate action, man?
I mean, it's a pretty special privilege. You got a lot of teams competing at different levels, but at the end of the day, when you put 6 people on one Overwatch team and you get the college experience of scrimming with those teams day after day, you really get to hone your craft. And even these lower ranked teams that we might see today can just really compete with the higher ranked teams on any given day.
Absolutely. Folks, we want to remind you that we have 2 divisions here at the NECC. We have the Champions Division, where we have some of the biggest schools in the country, schools like Boise State, Midland, massive universities. And then we do have our Challengers Division. And in the Challengers Division, we have some amazing universities as well. Schools like Carrol and Central Methodist, just like the matchup you're going to see here tonight from this first division. And it, like Yelk said, it is going to be a fast-paced, fun matchup. Before we go any further, I want to remind and say thank you to our partners. Thank you to our friends at Helix Esports, providing amazing arenas and the things that they do for us behind the scenes. And, of course, our linear TV partner. Thank you to our friends at ESTV, now available on Samsung TV Plus, the Roku channel, and plenty of other platforms, bringing you esports action from around the globe 24/7 on their platform. And of course, our newest partner, and we could not be more excited. I'm wearing some right now. HyperX, some of the best gear in gaming, now comes to the NECC. It is going to be a match. And for those that might be new viewers out here tonight, that maybe they're here just to watch their university compete in something with not a lot of sports going on, what are they going to see tonight in tonight's action?
Well, just by, scoping out the career profiles in this lobby, I'm seeing a few Zarya players, so I'm expecting to see some brawl, which is great. You love to see two Reinhardts, the most Overwatch-esque character in the entire game, just clashing against each other like a couple of Titans. So I'm looking to see some very fast brawl comps, hopefully sped up by the Lucio. What are you hoping to see, Jaron?
The same thing. I have had the pleasure of watching both of these schools. I have seen them have a win. I have seen both these schools lose, and a lot of times this, to me, this is going to come down to regrouping after a team wipe. Meaning, I have seen so many cases in this lower division where after a team, the regroup is so crucial in this division. The attack off a regroup is exactly what I'm going to pay attention to, yo.
That's important. I mean, you got to have the game awareness when your teammates fall down, when it's time to fall back and get out of the fight and just go next. So right there with you, that's going to be a key factor.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to get ready. We are going to go ahead and let them know that we are ready in our chat. Big thank you to our producer, Caleb Gluby, also the director of esports behind the scenes tonight running things. We thank him tonight for helping us out. But we are going to get ready, and it looks like we are going to go first to Watch Point Joe. We're going to Gibraltar, and it's going to be a fantastic. What can you tell us about this map as we get ready to go to it?
Oh my God, just as a player going through this map, you see so many high grounds, you're looking up half the game. So I mentioned brawl comps at the start, but looking at the map pool tonight, I could have been wrong about that. These are a lot of maps where we're going to see high grounds exploited. So we might actually end up seeing some dive comps on this map. Maybe some snipers taking advantage of those long sight lines, but no, what do you know about Gibraltar? What are you feeling?
Well, for me, I have seen a lot of teams awkwardly in the NECC run that dive comp just to try to dive. A lot of times we've seen a lot of diving on to the supports from the other team. So it's gonna be impressive to see what the attacking team is gonna do. And I missed my note here. Our producer will let us know which color is which. As we look at the blue team, what are you seeing as far as these comps right now?
I'm seeing an Orisa and a Roadhog, which I haven't seen since 2019. So I'm very interested in that. Orisa got that recent buff that increased her projectile speed, but that halt ability is still kind of an issue for me after they shortened the range on it from 8 to 5 meters. So it's a lot harder actually to hit those hook combos, but still a comp that can spam you down on these long sight lines.
Absolutely. And if we look over the red side, you can see, like we said, somebody is going to dive. There is the Diva, the Winston comp with the Sombra and the Lucio, tons of speed. Mora and the Reaper wind it up. If this team is going to dive, there's no question about it. Let's see how it plays out. Let's get into it. And ladies and gentlemen, blue will be Carrol. The Carroll University will be in blue, and Central Methodist will be in red. Yo, go ahead and take it away. Let them know what you're seeing.
And now I'm seeing a posturing dive effort from Twice going up and getting the bubble burst immediately, but backed up by his Reaper, who gets hooked in and has to race out, but they end up finding the kill onto the Mercy as the Roadhog falls as well, and the tanks have full control of the high ground. CMU is in great form early on here on Gibraltar. Just trying to get the rest of these high grounds. KTM, the last one to fall. And yeah, I'm liking these CMU Eagles. I mean, they are flying high on this map. They're taking to the skies with the mobile tanks. They got the Reaper rush down comboed with the Lucio. I mean, this is just an overall great team comp for this map.
Absolutely. And one of the things that we have seen from CMU, they've fallen short in a couple matches, but they have been so aggressive with this time play. As the Winston gets slept in the background, let's see if that affects it.
Slept and antied. I mean, CC'd to Oblivion. Twice unlucky on that dive attempt. The supercharger gets used after a couple of picks go through, making easy cleanup work for Carrol right now, and that's exactly what you want to do. They didn't have the most successful defense on the first point, but they put an immediate stop to it on the second.
And again, like we talked in the pregame, this is where that regroup is coming in. As right now, CMU does look a little spread out, but as they come through one of these doors, let's see if they group, as it looks like they're going to go right.
Hive comes in from Twice, gets the bubble, and they've zoned off the healing from this Ana onto the Mercy, and the Mercy ends up falling early. successful dive. I mean, they go in with that Lucio speed boost, and they got their foot on the gas. They don't take it off. The D.Va diving in onto this Roadhog. He's running for his life, going to the high ground. I don't think he'll make it out of this duel alive. He's going to get backed up at his own Ash. KTM actually goes down, and so does Biowolf. The tanks. CMU coming up big.
And again, we saw that before the first point, and they did it again. And like we said, that regroup as they try to hold on this top left.
EMP comes through as well with the Primal, and they're just going to batter them all away. Take a couple off the map, maybe. Twice is getting incredibly aggressive on this Winston. Bounces down KTM, but a couple of quick kills for Carrol. Panthers turn this one around, make it a third. Twice goes down to Biowolf. Again, an immediate stop. The gates open to third point, and the cart is parked.
And for those at home, oh wow, a massive hook there to eliminate. So what are you looking to see them do? What can Carroll University do to maybe stop this momentum?
They've got to engage with their Reaper into a halt. You can pull the tanks of CMU together, and the Winston can really just kind of get counter dove as long as you save the halt for it and your Reaper is there to catch him. But the Supercharger coming out early as well with the halt makes that Winston have to fly away. Bob is into the backline, damage boosted by the Supercharger, but he gets hacked. Timing there by Andy, but Twice goes down to KTM, who's damage boosted, and the Death Blossom by Immortal wins. On a B, that seals the deal.
Wow, and we saw so many ults dumped there. We saw the whole hog, we saw the nanoed hog, and then the Death Blossom to finish it off, and a huge hook on the D.Va as he tries to pull him through the door.
Little chip damage. That's a massive anti-6-man fall purple. And now this could be easy cleanup work, but Laskardu goes down. The Ana falling early for Carrol, and Mercy falling as well. No supports left for the Carrol Pioneers. The dive comp pushing in deep onto the third point. It looks like they'll get the first couple of corners here as Carrol is all the way back in their own spawn right now, having to bunker up.
Wow, and to the spawn, they hold their flag and say, to the spawn! And then they're going to see if they hold. As the Winston does get slept though. Let's see if they try to push out. Bomb at the spawn door.
Bomb.
Wow, I don't know if that might... Yo, that could have been a waste of a bomb there. Let's see how it plays out.
I don't know. This cart's still moving forward. At the end of the day, that is the goal. The Ana and the Junkrat fall for the Carrol Pioneers. Mercy's hacked on the cart, but she's got Valk, she's got movement, but ends up falling to the Reaper. And that is a hefty 344 time bank for CMU.
Wow, and again, like you and I talked about in the beginning, we talked about that possible dive composition that would come out. And CMU came out here and literally just dove across the map and pushed. Wow, what an impressive start to tonight's match.
They definitely understood the geometry of this map very well. They were taking all of the high ground so their tanks could just bounce on the Carrol Pioneers and just take that frontline presence without using many cooldowns. So I'm really impressed so far with what I've seen from the Eagles dive.
For sure. And if you're Carrol now switching, you know, you did not hold probably as much as you would want to. Let's see what they try to go with. As Carrol, they're going to stay, it looks like they're going to stay with the same composition even when they switch sides.
Not entirely minded. You can set up a shield with Orisa right on top of cart and just kind of sailboat your way through the map, but going into a dive comp is going to be a difficult task. However, I was really liking Grim Reaper's Orisa ults that last round. Those Superchargers, anytime they were popped, they won that team fight. So they clearly see the value there. So maybe that's why they're going back at it with this Orisa Roadhog comp.
Absolutely. And we will see the Ana and the Echo from Carroll University in this round. So it's going to be interesting to see how they use that Echo. Do they put her up in the air and really see how they play that character? As we're 3 seconds away, ladies and gentlemen, in this, the term is a best of 3 series. We will play all 3 maps. Let's go Overwatch Wednesdays here at the NECC.
Reaper's going to open it up with a lot of spam, but Andy getting aggressive with a hack and onto the back line, trying to find an early pick, but it's going to be Deep Apocalypse, the first one to go down. Coming through onto the Winston, who is Anti, could get bursted down quickly by the Echo Beam, but the shield comes up clutch and they push back down into Mega. Not the best spot for a dive comp to be the Orisa comp. Stood up by this Reaper, looking very strong down here as Twice and the Moira go down for CMU. So early on, we're seeing this bunker comp work some wonders.
Absolutely, and you could tell that that dive comp did not just work. They got stuck in there, and like you said, massive Orisa play right now.
I really am impressed with Grim Reaper. Already 60% to that ult. You can see the tanks on the side of CSU barely at 30%. Twice getting blown up immediately by the Echo from Carrol. And it's a lot of card presence right now for this bunker comp. Very tough to piece apart, and the copy Diva makes it practically a bunker comp with a little bit of Goat's flair to it. The kills are flying left and right as teams are trading out. Grim Reaper gets the res, a very crucial play, but the EMP comes through onto 3 tanks, comboed with a Diva bomb. Bomb going to find the Echo copy, making a lot of space for CMU, looking to defend this first point with 1.3 meters to go. Echo flying over top, doing all the damage she can, but members of Carrol are falling too quickly, and Reaper the last one to go.
Wow. And again, folks, if you're watching at home and you're new to Overwatch, you see that timeline in the center of the screen. Those little check marks are the checkpoints. Each time the team can get that payload to a checkpoint, they will receive more time and the final goal to get to that final gold check mark and that final checkpoint on this map in the right time. Man, this is fast and good Overwatch play that we're seeing right now, yo.
And all that time at the end will matter too. You see the 344 time bank that CMU has in store. That's going to be a very hefty tool if this one goes into overtime. Currently though, Carrol is finding picks from this high ground. They're not pushing off it very quickly. They're taking advantage of the good positioning, not letting that dive comp get into him free. Supercharger goes down and is immediately erased. Winston primaling into Carrol right now. And the beat is dropped. Orisa gets hacked. Grim Reaper's in a load of trouble, has to push into the server room. And Ice gets the primal kill onto the Ana. Immortal also goes down. The EMP comes through to top it all off. And Carrol's dropping like flies as the Death Blossom again seals the deal.
My goodness. And honestly, I did not see that team fight going that way. You saw the nanoed Orisa, you saw the everything come out, but that EMP yoke is just so dangerous. In my opinion, one of the strongest ults in this game and just destroys everything in its path.
Jaron, that's an ult with a massive area of effect too, and when you unplug 6 people on the other team, able to use their cooldowns or ultimates, they can't get away from any incoming damage. And after that Reaper ult came through with the EMP, it was just signed, sealed, delivered. But this Reaper ult on the engage finds the Diva twice, Andy and Brutal all go down in quick succession. And Eagle, the last one to fall, and finally a successful attack mounted by the Carrol Pioneers as they will finish up this first point on Gibraltar.
And they said maybe signed, sealed, delivered, but this point is yours, and they take it over. Wow, what a play. Let's see if they're going to push through. This regroup is going to be so crucial right here for CMU.
And Immortal wins, getting that early kill with the beam onto Apocalypse is crucial here. It's going to make a lot of space, get this corner for free. Twice going down as well is not going to do any favors CMU, but they're still pushing aggressively. Grim Reaper is going to commit the supercharger. Diva bomb flying into the back line. This could be dangerous. Bomb comes up empty. Grim Reaper still up in the front line, going down eventually to Brutal. Silent Eagle and Andy falling as well. A lot of point presence right now for the Pioneers driving this cart forward. CMU choosing to regroup. Crucial time.
And that is right there is a crucial revive right there as they bring back the Orisa on point. I think this Orisa play cannot be understated. She is staying alive and keeping this fight close.
And she's farming the Winston too. Twice actually took way too many shots to the head right there on the engage. Ended up being the first to fall, but Immortal Wind going down, coupled by this beat drop that boosts everyone on the Eagles up. I mean, you would like to say it would have sealed the deal on defense, but no, this one's been capped. A little Charlie Niner there, and the Carrol Pioneers are gonna take second in a weird fashion.
Wow, absolutely. So let's see. For me, I think it's been pretty obvious what's happening here with the dive composition. It's strange that maybe they don't switch up a little bit. What are you seeing there, yo?
I mean, this is a map that has those high grounds, very advantageous and aggressive positions all throughout, so I'm not completely surprised to see them not switch. They've got the time bank they need after their successful attack too, so I don't really see them changing strategies. It's working and they're just playing the long game. Right now a lot of trades are going on as these spawns for the defense are right next to where the objective is. A huge purple flies out and gets everyone on CSU low. Apocalypse goes down, but a lot of resources have been lost. Carrol, as the Roadhog and the Reaper coming out of spawn with the shotguns, can do a lot of burst, but they're not going to keep up with this Diva and the Lucio.
Absolutely, and we saw that Echo go ahead and copy the Diva and get a bomb off, but everyone able to get inside. So it's going to be interesting around this final corner to see how this plays out.
Yeah, I think Biowolf could end up making a big play with this Whole Hog as long as he combos it again with that Halt. Grim Reaper's been great with that ability so far this game. Whole Hog comes out, Orisa twice fortifies, and doesn't get knocked back at all, so he takes the full brunt of that Whole Hog damage straight to the dome. And these spawns are going to have to reset quick. With a minute 55 on the clock, Carrol is looking to just shut the door on this map, get the 3rd point. Supercharger comes out, and that's going to lock it up. Very comparable time bank, but still 2 minutes. That's more than you need to get all 3 points of this map, especially when you run a bunker comp like that. Great success.
Well, and for those people watching at home, explain to them a little bit about what they're seeing with the 3-3 and the time. What are we going to see next?
So both teams, again, successful in taking all 3 points of this payload map. They got the cart from the start to the finish line. And CMU did it with 3 minutes, 44 seconds on the clock, so they're going to get that much time again to do the same thing. They're going to try and get it all 3 points if they can. Neither team is going to end up with time if they make it that far. The payload just does not move that fast. But both teams have a very capable time bank of getting all 3 points in overtime. As long as they just run their comps the way they want to, they use ultimates at smart times. And it's going to be up to the main tanks, I think, not to let too much damage get dealt onto them.
And it looks like we will stay with the same comps. We will stay with that dive composition for CMU and the Roadhog Orisa. Maybe they're trying to bring it back like Cool Jeans in the 80s. Maybe it's time for something new.
Yeah, maybe, but honestly, when it comes down to overtime as well, I think dive looks just a little bit stronger. The heroes naturally are just better stall heroes. Lucio can ride around on the walls forever. Both of the tanks can take to the skies. Reaper is a nightmare to burst down. This bunker comp, when that time bank runs out, it could start looking a little bit weak, but I don't know. You're playing Orisa like Grim Reaper is right now and hitting all these massive halts. It's hard to argue that this comp is the one you want to work with. And Roadhog, Biowolf gets the early kill. Immortal Wind also pieces down the Reaper from CMU, and this is already a very strong attack. They're going to get at least a couple of corners here for free.
Absolutely, and just like we said, they came out and pushed around the corner and a massive early pick, but the Echo goes down for Carrol trying to get around that corner.
Looking for Twice not to step up onto this Reaper, but KTM finds him making that costly mistake. Immortal Wind getting that res, and although they lost a couple of members, Carrol gets that res, and now they're looking very sharp on this first point. They hit a little bit of a speed bump the first time around, but now all they have to do is clean up this Diva. They've got first locked down.
And that's it. That's the first point. And I will tell you what, I have not been able to be a Roadhog user myself, but if you can keep your hog alive, that is just so much damage. No matter what comp you have, that a solid hog play is dangerous play.
And it looks like CMU is switching up a little bit to counter this Roadhog. The Orisa switch would put a lot more damage into that Roadhog. Hopefully farm up some superchargers, but I think the Ana hero is the hero that you want to pick if you're trying to counter Biowolf on this Roadhog. Roadhog can get away with so much, but once he's anti-nated, he's just like any other hero in the game. A Coalescence and an EMP comes through, hacking everyone on Carrol, but they find 2 quick kills. The Whole Hog not affected by the EMP. Biowolf popping off in the backline. It's a melee onto the Moira, the Diva, demeched, and Andy goes down. It's the last one to fall, and this one has entered overtime for the Carrol Pioneers, but they've got the second point locked down, and right now CMU has some very bad spawns as Biowolf will collect on the Reaper.
Oh my goodness, and look at this. Just chasing that Mora back to spawn. And no, he's gonna wait. Wow, what? They just foot on the gas pedal. Yo.
Yeah, seriously, right now it's Biowolf's world and everyone else is living when... Oh my god, the hook! The Halt comboing on this Diva, demecks her at a more crucial time in the game than right now. The Roadhog eventually does get hacked for overstepping, and Biowolf will go down, but the Death Blossom finds 3, make it 4 as the Reaper falls. The Nano committed on the KTM, and still, Carrol Pioneers are marching this one toward the third point. They don't look like they're going to let up at all. Overtime hasn't even begun ticking down because no one stepped off the cart for even a second. Biowolf is just camping this spawn door, trying to body block, but the Moira squeaks through. Lucio the first to fall, and Moira goes down as well. Diva Bomb coming in over the top. It finds Immortal, wins the Supercharger, canceled out immediately, and members of CMU falling too fast. Supercharger for Grim Reaper in a clutch time. Diva demech, the baby Diva dealt with, and the third point solidified for Carrol.
My goodness. And let me tell you what, as far as Carrol goes, Yelk, I don't know what you could call a perfect team win, but that right there was fantastic. The first, especially that last stretch. How about the Orisa getting nanoed, being able to pull up, and then the Hog pushing forward, and then the massive pull to hook, and then when the Hog goes down, a Death Blossom. Wow, that was impressive.
You're seeing the Death Blossoms and the Superchargers be the real difference maker ultimates in this one. Andy has had some great EMPs on the side of CMU, but those Death Blossoms we're seeing from KTM and Grim Reaper Superchargers are just out of this world and clearly making the most difference here on Gibraltar.
Absolutely, and CMU had a little momentum on that first push they have. They come into this to match 1 and 2 on the season, so it looks like Carrol, it may be just warming up a little bit, and let's see. So this attack going to be so crucial as they have to go all the way across this timeline.
Yeah, they left CMU no wiggle room. They have to play perfect Overwatch, get this one, and dunk it on the 3rd point. And that is just a tall task when I feel like the attacking team with the shorter time bank taking 3 points, that kind of takes the wind out of the sails for CMU. They had this hefty time bank after the first round that I'm sure they were very proud of, but right now it means nothing. They've got to play that perfect Overwatch here in overtime.
Absolutely. And it looks like they're going to switch it up. For CMU, this is a whole new look. They have the Zarya, they put the Zig, and the Genji, and Soldier. What a massive change. Let's see how they do it.
Not too sure about the Zarya and the Sigma coupled together. It's not the best comp for blocking hooks and crucial cooldowns that Carrol is running right now, but it can do a lot to negate the Reaper, and like I said, he's having a massive impact in this game, so that could be the thought process. Right now, Andy's popping up. He's got a 30-second Dragon Blade, and he's popping away at the back line, and he finds 4 all alone. The Roadhog is the last one standing for Carrol, and he's on a journeyman expedition deep on this tunnel flank. Kind of seal off some spawns, gets the hook onto the Soldier, and gets the spawn kill. But the first point will be locked up for CMU. A pretty successful attack, good changes, good coaching, everything starting to click now for CMU.
And what an impressive play. Let's see. We've seen this before by them. We've seen the aggression. We've seen them push forward. Let's see if they can keep this up.
They'll be able to. They're coming up on a Nano, a Valkyrie, and the Visor, but also a lot of ultimates for this defense. The Flux is going to be the first one to fly out, and the Slam comes up empty, but Grim Reaper goes down to twice. Damage boosted by his friendly Mercy, and also sitting at around 80 charge, so just beaming down the enemy, cutting through them, but that's a massive Flux. It slams down, nothing killed immediately, but Apocalypse will fall to KTM. Anti trying to swing things back for CMU, but they're still on the back foot as the supports are pushing back into their own spawn, choosing safety over committing to a kill.
Wow. And what a massive play. Let's not understate that play right there by the Echo, able to go ahead and ult and use the Sigma and use that Sigma ult on point, raise everyone up in the air and yeet them to the ground. Man, impressive.
Nanoblade comes in from Andy, gets vaulted. They try to CC him, but he finds the Ana. Orisa goes down to the Visor. KTM falling as well to the Sigma. CMU finally building some more momentum here as they'll cut down Immortal Winds at the end. Roadhog make it out alive. He's kind of a final boss that CMU has to deal with. They tackle him with 5 members right now on this back left corner, and Beowulf eventually does go down, but I'm seeing Andy just rip out these Dragon Blades almost every fight, and it's very impressive. Grab comes out early here onto the Reaper, just boxing up these squishies in on this corner. Grim Reaper still has that anti-slapped on him, but he'll make it out alive. The res coming through onto the Sigma. KTM goes down to Andy. Echo, the only point presence left as Grim Reaper goes down and tackled by 5 members of CMU as they will lock up the second point with under a minute to go here in overtime.
Now, with under a minute, what do you see? Do you think they have enough time, or do you think that Carrol will be able to regroup here?
I see another Dragon Blade, and I know he's going to get damage boosted, and so far Andy has looked like a culinary artist just carving up the backline, and he's going to let it loose right now, but I'm wrong. Grim Reaper Ultra Cease. The hook comes through. Well, things go right. Carrol right there on the defense, but Andy gets res, antied, and immediately dealt with. Beowulf goes down as well as his friendly McCree, and still the Carrol Pioneers are tucked back in here on defense. They've yet to stabilize. Point is moving around the last corner of third point. Overtime will eventually start ticking down. The Mercy picked for Carrol is very critical. Do not want to go down right now, but the ball slamming in, looking to find a kill, and the Mercies end up trading out as Silent Eagle goes down. The visor right now for Apocalypse swinging out on the right side, dealt with by the ball, booping him backwards, and eventually cleaning up that kill as Twice also falls. Carrol building a lot of momentum right now as Grim Reaper goes down the front line, lacking a little bit for the Pioneers. Sigma getting cleaned up after being antied, and that's going to be it. No one left to make it back from CSU, and quite the turnaround game from the Pioneers.
Wow. Carrol University takes the first map of this series. And how about the fact that let's watch this play of the game. What are you seeing here from this Reaper?
Oh my god, I'm seeing what I saw the last 3 rounds, where what you play Reaper is you get uncomfortably close, and he drops in from this high ground right into 5 people, spinning around with the nano, and does as much damage as you can do in the game, just taking out 5 members of CM. That was a great play from KTM.
My goodness, a 4-piece and the chicken and gravy on the side. My goodness, what a play. Fantastic. And Yelk, right there, you and I both thought that CMU had all the momentum, that Genji playing so heavy. And what necessarily did you see that Carrol did right there to be able to take that over? I mean, that's an impressive turnaround on that last stretch.
It was the absolute biggest play of the game, no doubt, when Andy was lining up that final Dragon Blade, going in with the nano, and then just every CC Carrol could put onto Andy, they did. They nailed it, and Andy got stopped right at the Orisa's footsteps. And wow, that's exactly what Carrol had to do. That's a clutch play. The hands were sweaty. They knew it was coming. They did everything they had to.
And right now, that Orisa, I know that we at the beginning, timelines can be different, but how about at the beginning of this match where you and I both said, man, I don't know, an Orisa hog, I haven't seen that in a long time, and it turns out to be the defining factor. I mean, obviously there's other big plays, but the huge pull hook on their side when they're attacking, and then now here at the end to get the hook on the blade. I mean, it's an amazing play, and I haven't seen it in a long time.
I was maybe trashing Orisa Halt at the start of that map, but it's still one of the best team abilities in the entire game. It's right up there with Lucio's Speed Boost, where it can just transform how a team plays. It can be comboed with every hero in the game. They've all got some creative tool they can use with it, whether it's a cooldown or an ultimate. And Carrol was doing that in spades that map. I was very impressed by the bump.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to remind you, 5 days a week, you can catch esports action right here live at the NECC. You can see us on our linear TV partner, obviously ESTV, but we also are here live 5 days a week. Monday nights, we have Madden. Tuesday nights for Valorant. Of course, Overwatch Wednesdays like you're seeing now. Thursday night, we have League of Legends at the highest level. You have to see what's happening in our League of Legends division. And Friday night, we drop the ball in the center of the field. We put the race cars on the track, and we have Rocket League Friday Night Live here at the NECC. Yoke, what do you think about the NECC so far?
I just love the flurry of games they hit you with. I mean, esports is not plural for a reason. They got so many different competitions. My favorite are Overwatch and Rocket League. Those are the 2 games that I've played the most, the 2 most competitive games I've ever gotten into. So love what NECC is doing for the collegiate scene. I'm going to see it go a lot farther than it is right now.
Absolutely. And speaking of going farther, we're going to go all the way to Numbani, as this is one of my favorite maps of the game, but also, a lot of open sight lines and a lot of things can happen. What are people seeing as they go down to the streets of Numbani right now?
Again, you could be looking up the whole time depending on how the other team is playing. This is another dive-strong map, so we might be seeing the same thing coming out from CMU. They might be on the Genji a little bit earlier. If I had to guess, if they're going to run dive, they're going to go with Andy on that Genji pick again. But I'm actually going to see the dive coupled by a pharmacy on CMU. A very interesting look. And still, the bunker, but this time instead of 1 shield, Biowolf is backing up Grim Reaper with a 2nd shield. He's going to be on the Sigma this round, and we're going to still see the Reaper and the Echo because it was working wonders. You're not trying to reinvent the wheel here. Just change one thing on the tank line and see if that's all you need out the door when you're playing defense.
Absolutely. And on the attacking side, here comes the dive. There's no question what they're going to try to run, what they feel comfortable with, and also bringing in the Forest. So that's going to be impressive to see what they do from the sky.
It's a great farm map too. You can going out all the way left side if you're attacking on what's known as coast in the esports world, the very edge of the map side. And these buildings, they go all the way beyond the skybox. So very great vertical cover for pharmacy comps to use on this map. They can duck and dive around all the buildings throughout all 3 points and just do tons of burst damage to add on to this dive comp. Right now, D.Va and Winston locking in on Grim Reaper on this Orisa. They know he's a troublemaker and they're trying to deal with it early. D.Va nearly getting halted off the map and it's having to jump out of the way, but Andy getting the first kill, the burst damage from the pharmacy, cleaning up the Mercy, and a couple of trades coming through now as both teams are Reaperless. Cutie Papaya goes down for CMU, so they're without the D.Va, and a lot of kills coming through as Carrol looks like they've baited CMU into that top high ground, right into the hallway, and they clean up 3 kills incredibly quickly. Grim Reaper never goes down.
And again, we've seen that Orisa play, staying alive, using shield, dealing damage. I mean, it's just impressive. By far, right now, the MVP of this match, I think.
I mean, Orisa is a tank too, where one of her abilities, Fortify, is just the stay put ability, the hold right here ability, the hold no punches ability. She's been backed into corners often in this game, but somehow Grim Reaper just uses those cooldowns flawlessly, using the supercharger here from the high ground, raining in projectile damage from the top. MU and the Winston diving in, but Toys coming up empty, unable to find any targets. Now the only one he's found is a Reaper, and he wants to be as far away from him as possible as KTM will clean up that kill. And go down to Andy, the DPS here, trading out. And it could be anyone's game. Grim Reaper holding the high ground, but he is all alone. It is a Winston and a Pharmacy, but the Sigma is back for backup with the Moira. The comp is incredibly split. Grim Reaper getting that healing orb, now has to touch. His 2 ticks were given up onto this point. Has to fortify and close the distance to his own Moira. Has the Nano Boost slapped onto him as well. And Andy with the barrage and the Primal Rage keeps everyone off the point. And it is a successful capture for CMU, but the action's not over as Grim Reaper, Moira, and Echo all go down. Finally, CMU has stabilized after that first point cap.
And Yelk, they earned that point as they take over right here. A massive fight, and let's see if that dive composition as the Winston dives up on the top line. Let's see what's going to play out.
This is a point too where the dive comp can set up any way they please. I mean, it is an attacker's delight to be running dive comp with all this space in front of you. Looking to see Apocalypse get up onto a high ground, take advantage, some better positioning on that soldier, but Andy's really taking the skies this game, doing a lot of damage onto the backline. Grim Reaper is up a little bit too far here. That D.Va bomb flies into the backline, and it's going to find nobody as Reaper is able to wraith away KTM using that cooldown just in time. Pups will find the Winston of CMU, but the res comes through onto both main tanks. The cart's still moving around the final corner of second point. It's going down to Grim Reaper again. The bomb flies in, doesn't find anything. Everyone moves over to safety. And again, KTM with a Blossom finds 4, make it 5. Paya, the last one to go down. Supercharger Blossom, there's no combo like it.
Oh my goodness, my goodness. And how about the exchange before where CMU sent their D.Va bomb a little too far and not able to push it because Carrol comes out with the Sigma ult, being able to hold them back off a point. Man, Carrol really trying to hold them off on this push right here.
And the barrage comes through, finds Grim Reaper. The tanks are erased for Carrol right now as they're starting to backpedal, looking for answers. Mercy and KTM go down to Andy. Dead Apocalypse finds the kill onto Immortal Wins. And Lasker do the last one to go down to Andy. As these shaky attacks, it's either a drawn-out fight that we're seeing the Pioneers win, or it's a quick burst, successful dive where CMU cleans it up very quickly.
And absolutely, and Yelk, we saw this in the first map. We saw them push with aggression and do it, but as the map went on, they lost that momentum. So let's see what they can do to try to maybe keep this up and need to sustain this as we go through this map series.
CMU's got a trio of ultimates. They've got tank ultimates and the Coalescence to go in with. The Coalescence is going to spark this engagement, see if they can get some beam damage onto Grim Reaper. Primal coming through from Twice, looking to batter the front line and get everyone mixed up. D.Va bomb, the last thing to come in over the top, and it cannot escape that one. Apocalypse goes down, and it's an Eve trade so far. Grim Reaper falling to Andy is huge, though, as the main tank erased for Carrol gives up a lot of ground. Winston and D.Va diving into the backline. CMU tanks doing a lot of work, but they can't bring down Immortal with this Mercy pocket. Invincible, Immortal indeed. That's an accurate description of how this man is playing McCree. usually the most diveable hero, but stays alive through everything there. Papaya ends up going around the map, taking out Biowolf, who's onto the Roadhog pick. Supercharger from Grim Reaper amplifies a lot of damage, but it's canceled by Andy, who also takes down KTM. Andy not able to make it out of that barrage alive, but will get the res. I think CMU, they're stabilizing this third point, and they cap it with 249. But if there's one thing I know about this game, it does not matter what your time bank looks like. This is going to be one where you have to stay consistent for the entire map.
Well, and like we saw on that first map, they had that huge time bank advantage on the first map, and they lost that map. So let's see if they can bounce back and what CMU can do to continue this momentum. Yoke, they have to be able to keep this up.
I think they'll be able to. I think Watchpoint Gibraltar, again, a map that really favors dive, but Numbani defense is just known for being one of those points where you cannot crack it easily unless you run dive. Getting through that top high ground, it's very difficult. It's hard to spam your way through there with no Orisa comp. It's hard to walk through there shielding up with a Reinhardt. It's just a very easy spot in Overwatch to blow up as an entire team. Global teams really do get quite an advantage here, but Carrol Pioneers, they are playing this bunker to perfection, and I'm sure they've got a few tricks up their sleeve on how to take first point new bot.
Absolutely. And one of the things, Yoke, I am not a tank player by any means, but this Grim Reaper just stays alive.
Yeah, and Jaron, I am a main tank player, and I've played plenty of Orisa in my day. And let me tell you, they backpedal to perfection. That is how you stay alive on Orisa. You kind of run away while you're doing damage the whole time. Use your halt to peel the enemy off of you, or shield in between you and the enemy. And you saw, I mean, Grim Reaper knows how to bait people into hallways on defense first point when they were up in that blue hallway. Baited 3 members of CMU in there, had a mercy pocket, and could not be brought down. Awareness is off the charts.
So for CMU, it looks like they will put that Baptiste on the top and try to pocket him. Let's see if it plays out as they try to go top left.
Andy is just doing way too much. Grim Reaper just finds the quickest path off the map, as they know this is probably not the team comp you want to run into a Bastion with 2 shields. It's just not enough poke. It's hard to close the distance. Grim Reaper going on to this Diva pick allows a Matrix to just bubble up and consume any damage that Andy puts their way. Interested to see what Biowolf is going to end up on.
And it looks
Winston.
like it will be. Yeah, it will be the Winston. And again, explain to people why that change was made right there.
Honestly, just so you can have tanks that have a movement cooldown. You want to be able to close this distance. Diva with that defensive matrix functions differently than a shield. It doesn't get broken. It's something that eats an infinite amount of damage on a time limit, so you don't have to worry about it getting down by this massive burst damage from the Bastion. And it also couples very well with the Pharmacy. Unfortunately, the Mercy for Pioneers goes down early, and who can res, so they're going to have to wait for this one to collect from spawn.
I tell you what, a Mercy pocketed Bastion is so difficult to deal with on top of putting that Orisa and Sigma Shield in front of it. That is such a problem.
I think KTM on this Ash pick too might be another problem that the Pioneers are dealing with. A Hanzo would look a little bit better here just because the Mercy has to commit to pocketing the Pharah. The dive does come through, but Andy without the Mercy, Biowolf without the Mercy gets erased on this Winston. Andy is the one going aggressive with the Bastion. He's in tank form right on the point, trying to do as much work as he can, and he gets the Pharah out of the sky. The anti-air gun Andy just coming in the clutch, center of first point, taking out KTM. That was a spectacle.
Fantastic, fantastic play. And I'm gonna be honest with you, Yoke, if you'll go ahead, I lost visual there for a second, so I will be right to fix that.
I got you, Jaron. No worries. Just posturing a dive right now. The Pioneers with 1:30 in the bank there, looking for some answers, and they're coming up empty. They've got to close this distance. The window, coupled with the Bastion and the soldier behind it, is way too much damage, and 3 members of the Carrol Pioneers are erased instantly. And this is a totally different defense so far from CMU. They're not running the dive, they are running the bunker, and showing us why bunker is so strong on defense.
And just so much damage as the Diva sits down, not even able to try to get any ticks there on point because they know how much damage is up on that top right. This is tough to deal with. If you're Carrol right now, how are you defending this, or what are you going to do?
I mean, you got to get right under where that Bastion is. You got to rain the rockets in with the barrage, take out the Sigma. KTM successful, but they haven't taken out Andy. He goes down eventually, was 1 HP anti, but gets the res from Silent Eagle with the Bastion back up. That's an absolute game changer. Reaper gets rezzed in on the Diva too, but the Ana taken down by the Bastion and the dive from Silent Eagle, getting in the mix on the Mercy. That's what you like to see. The supports getting involved defensively as Silent Eagle gets in, takes out the Ana from the Pioneers. 3 seconds on the clock, Jaron. What are we looking for here?
Well, for me, you're scrambling at this point. If you're Carrol, you have to try anything, throw everything and the kitchen sink, but a massive play by the Bastion to take him off on point. And at this point, there's not much they can do as the Diva Bomb comes in, but the Sigma ult follows, and that is it. CMU wins the second map. My goodness, what a match we have here tonight.
Yeah, and Andy, I mean, you love seeing him play the Genji. You love seeing him play those other little more mobile heroes, a little more action-friendly heroes, but really they figured out that the Bastion is a crux to this Carrol team. Here we're going to see KTM shredding the backline again with another Death Blossom play of the game. Second point to wrap that one up. I don't know, we got a 1-1 matchup. This one's going to map 3.
Whew. I mean, as we come into the studio and you folks at home get to see mine and Yelk's beautiful face, we want to remind you that this is a best of 3 map series. And usually we've had some 2-0 games, and usually we say the third map is still going to get played because map wins will affect playoff seeding as we get towards the end of the season. The amount of map wins will go towards playoff seeding. But tonight, that is not the case, as this next map, this game 3, this is going to decide who wins this match, and we're going to Busan.
Again, a map that has Mecha base point, and it also has the Busan City point. 2 great dive maps again. We've seen the dive answered. We've seen everything answered by Andy on the Bastion. I don't know how well you can run Bastion on control points realistically. I don't expect Andy to play that, but it did work so well. You got to be thinking that CMU has it in the back of their heads that maybe we run Bastion out the gate.
Maybe so. I think that is such a valid point by you, that they did have issues with Carrol's aggressiveness and the way they pushed forward with that Hog and Orisa. And then, that was pure domination in that second match when the Bastion came into play.
Definitely was. I'm interested to see. Control kind of functions a little more like a deathmatch game mode. So you a DPS difference going on that game mode more than any other game mode where tanks have a lot more at stake and at play. But I'm looking at Andy right now, like almost a player of the match right up there with Grim Reaper. It's weird seeing a DPS on one team and a main tank, especially an Orisa player on the other team, and the 2 contestants for who I think is having the biggest impact. But those 2 especially are going to have to pull their weight here on Busan.
For sure. And ladies and gentlemen, we want to remind you that you can check us out on social media. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at NECC Games for updates, live scheduling, all kinds of things. We do have something very exciting coming very soon in terms of a giveaway. Stay tuned for on our social media. And again, that's on Twitter and Instagram at NECC Games. And Yelk, as we get ready to go into this final map, obviously a new game mode. It's a pretty simple game mode to understand, but for the people at home, explain what we're going to see that's been different from the first 2 maps.
Okay, so it's essentially the hill this time. Not going to be a payload that anyone is moving forward. There's 1 stationary objective, and there's 3 points. So each point is a completely different map within the map of Busan. Again, as that center objective, teams are fighting over that the entire time. No team is on attack or defense unless they hold the objective, and it can change at any time depending on who has the most point presence.
Absolutely. And ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go there. Thank you for being here with us tonight on Overwatch Wednesdays. Again, this is just the first match. We have 2 matchups for tonight. As in our second match, Boise State's second team will face off against Kansas Wesleyan University. So you're going to want to stick around to be able to see that. But right now, before we say anything else, can we talk about how beautiful this map is?
Oh, I love it. The architecture of the buildings. I call this map Drum. I call it Busan Drum just because of the centerpiece on the point and what's in that little left structure. This is just a fantastic map, very open, very effective for dive, and also very effective for Orisa.
And we are
maps and Orisa maps don't match up, but this is one where Orisa's sightlines can really just rain in damage on.
absolutely, and it looks like we are going to have Battle of the Hogs. As for CMU, they bring out the Hog Hog Zarya, obviously going with that meta look and bringing in the Doomfist, as you will see Grim Reaper for Carrol back on that Orisa and Hog. Let's get right into the action, Yelp.
And Toys kind of pulled the rug out from under us there, ends up going back to the Orisa, so we're going to see a lot of these long drawn-out fights where the teams spamming each other from a very big distance. Eventually, you're going to see either Andy or KTM close the distance quickly. But right now, the Orisas clash right on this staircase. Immortal getting the first kill as he pieces down Twice. Apocalypse going down to Grim Reaper as well. That opens things up beautifully here for Carrol as the Roadhog falls for CMU.
Absolutely, and they just jumped onto point and had pure aggression. Those early picks, talk about it. Those early picks, so crucial in any matchup.
You're not expecting the kind of burst damage to come at you like Echo can do with her focusing beam. If you're below half health, Mortal on this Echo pick can just press E on his keyboard and essentially do all the damage in the world to you. And I think that's exactly what we saw in that last fight as Grim Reaper was taken out. Twice was taken out a little bit too early. And again, Twice goes down. The opposing Orisa, the res comes through, but not in time as Andy goes down as well. Apocalypse falling third. He's going to make this one tough, if not impossible, to claw back. Twice and Grim Reaper having a little fun exchange there on Orisa. And yeah, still Carrol just showing that once they've got the point down, they are a team that really does know how to defend on an Orisa.
Absolutely. I was not sure. It looked like we were having Orisa cuddle time, and I was not sure what was happening, but it looks like Carrol wins that exchange, and still with almost 50% of this main point taken. Let's see how CMU is going to bounce back as they try to go back left.
You can see here how Carrol doesn't really want to get right onto the point, even though CMU is posturing right on the edge of the point. Grim Reaper stays on that staircase for a long time, just uses the better sightline that staircase offers opposed to the point. Blossom coming in, coupled with a whole hog, isn't going to find anything. KTM coming up empty right there, and erased by Andy, who's looking to move here on this Reaper pick. The point does get flipped at 71%, so now CMU has control. Supercharged from Grim Reaper comes out to try and scrape this one back, and it will with 2 kills, but Laskerdu goes down to Andy. Just coming through on to the Roadhog. Make this one interesting as it's just an Orisa on it and a Pixie left on the point for Carrol, but they're quickly doing a number. Wow. The CMU, as now they've just got to take out Apocalypse to put this one back.
Wow, and what a play. Like you said, it looked like Carrol might be outmanned right there, but then just flip of the script, they put the Eagles on their heels and not able to hold it.
Grim Reaper had great timing on that supercharger and put it right behind a pole. Oh, big sleep on Andy, gets him out of the Reaper ult. What I was saying about Grim Reaper Supercharger, putting it right on that pole next to natural cover makes it a nightmare for CMU to deal with, and it amplified everyone on the Pioneers. They're currently struggling to take control of this point again. Echo copy onto the Reaper goes out, but the tack visor from the backline of CMU is going to do absolute work, taking out Immortal. Last ditch Death Blossom coming in from KTM, but he will get slept, meleeed, and taken care of by the Eagles.
Wow, and that is one of the things about this game mode that I enjoy so much, because you can think that Carrol has all the advantage, 71%, and just like that, here we are tied up with not very far to go for the Eagles.
Yeah, not a lot left in this game here at 81% for the Eagles. That's an early Wrecking Ball ult. Perez is going to come through, so it's no harm done, and it actually does deny a pretty significant amount of area, which will stall out the Pioneers' attacking attempt. Right now, Andy gets the nano onto him. The Reaper can just do so much burst damage, taking down the Ana on the Pioneers incredibly quickly. Death Blossoming twirling around on top of this Grim Reaper Orisa, and this is going to be it, I think, as overtime starts to bleed down, and KTM the last one to go here on drum.
Wow. Absolutely. And wow, Yelk, you have to think that if you're Carrol, you're a little upset with yourself right now. Just the fact that you feel like you had the advantage, you got to 71%, and then you give it up, and there's no looking back for CMU. I mean, what an impressive play by the Eagles to take that first round.
I mean, that's kind of the problem with Orisa comps, is that incredible caveat where they can defend a point so well. But if they get taken off the point and they have to get on the attacking foot again, it's very tough to take that space back.
And so now it looks like CMU switching to that Winston, going to stay with the ball. What are you looking to see them do, obviously, for this, putting this dive comp together?
I'm looking for them to distract the front line of the Carrol Pioneers and then get a crucial hack. Andy's on the somber pick. Get a crucial hack and then change focus from the dive from the front line to the hack target. So this can, again, up on all of these high grounds. Right now he gets hooked in, and that is dangerous. Andy does get the hack onto the Mercy and erases Mercy for the Pioneers as they're pushed into this corner by the Winston and the Reaper. Trying to stabilize here on the front line. Roadhog Orisa tucked in behind this corner, using all the time in the world to take this space back. The point will go in control of CMU as Pioneers are just looking to stabilize around this staircase, but they're really having trouble, and it looks like they're going to concede and maybe wrap around and try a different angle at this point.
And on that first point, how about that Winston play? Able to stay alive. I'll be honest with you, I didn't think he was going to make it out of that corner. And for CMU, he stays alive, and they have complete control of this point right now.
Toys might have had a false sense of security after that last go, because he went in a little too early, a little too deep on that last play and got bursted down. Once again, by his Mercy, Silent Eagle picking him right back up. Going down. Firewolf finding that crucial pick. Andy coming through with the EMP, but immediately erased by KTM. Firewolf is in all alone, takes out the Ana with the help of KTM, helping in clutch for backup. Winston primaling away. Toys trying to knock some people off the map, and he finds KTM. It's a 3 versus 3. Anyone's game here onto the point. Firewolf finding a hook, but unable to confirm the kill. The visor from Apocalypse going to be what seals the deal here. 55% and upticking for CMU.
Wow, and answer this, yo. What is CMU doing? We saw Carrol so competitive in that first map, and here, what is it? What are they doing differently that's just shutting down this Pioneer offense?
Not getting too close to the Reaper. They're actually running away anytime they see him. So KTM hasn't been able to do as much work, and I'm seeing them really start to tackle this Mercy. Maybe baiting one dash cooldown out so they can jump onto that secondary spot where she has to go. And I'm seeing the Mercy for the Pioneers be removed early a lot in these fights, and I think that's been the issue here.
Absolutely. And
moving in now, though. Look at this, the Wrecking Ball and the Echo just close the distance. KTM twirling around on the point, finds Silent Eagle on the Mercy. Now, a quick flip will come in clutch time as you had 99%, but with their back against the wall, the Pioneers prevail.
And talk about saved by the bell, 99% in a dream. They flip the script, and now let's see if they can hold it. Like, wow, let's see if they can hold this to try to push this to another round.
It's gonna be tough. I mean, that is a full day's work here. It's getting 99% of the full hold, but ATM going down early to Toys' Primal is not what you want to see. ATM is all of the burst damage for the team. Compa Bywolf gets a crucial trade onto Brutal. The Ana going down, Immortal also falling, and the Ana going down for the Pioneers. It's really anyone's game. Grim Reaper will come through with this Wrecking Ball, all trying to CC the enemy away. Bywolf is his only teammate there to help. He's got some backup. KTM is back. He doesn't have an ultimate, but he sure does have a lot of burst damage where he can get in on this backline. Tries to get in onto the Somber, but Andy and Twice take him out. Although, the point uptaking for the Pioneers, they've still got control. It's just flipped. Overtime is ticking down. Not many members of Carrol left to contest. Healers go down, and I'm not sure anyone else will make it. Overtime is going to bleed out, and that is going to be a 2-1 victory for CMU.
Wow, wow, wow is all I can say. Now, we're going to look at this play of the game, but we have a lot to talk about when we go to this post-game chat. And again, how about Reaper? All 3 plays of the map have been Reaper. Let's see this Reaper play by Andy here.
Andy showing up on the edgelord, taking out the Ana for the Pioneers, and then from the staircase just lets it rip. in a 720, taking out an Orisa coupled by a Mercy. And again, Reaper just looks very strong in this meta and very strong in this game from both teams.
Absolutely. And how about Yelk? What an impressive match. I think we have to talk about CMU. They came into today's match 1-2 on the season against a 2-1 Carrol team. Both teams go to 2-2. You got to think things in that Central Methodist University arena are probably pretty hype right now.
So they probably are. I mean, they've played some very tough competition, and if anything, that record that they've had has just put them in great shape to win this game, and that's what we saw. We saw them break out a dive comp, and then when they saw that bunker was what was working in the current game, Grim Reaper getting so much value on that Orisa, ended up throwing on an Orisa comp of their own and doing a great job on Busan.
Absolutely. And how about that? Speak a little more on that. How about those changes? Are those coaching changes your shot caller change? But it looks like that's something. Communication is so crucial in winning Overwatch matches.
I think it could have just been a change of focus on what the dive target was, because their dive comp really did have quite the turnaround, where on the first map, it was struggling to find value. Reaper was just an immovable force on the Orisa. And I think they kind of changed it up, started diving the Mercy a little more, finding a more exploitable, squishy target to take care of. And I think that's kind of how CMU turned this one around today.
Wow. And what an impressive. And again, big shout out to Carroll University. Comes in. They fall to 2-2 today, but they've had an amazing season so far. And we look forward to see what they're going to do moving forward. And Yelk, what do you think about Overwatch here at the NECC so far?
I'm very impressed with the level of competition, because those were some comps. One comp, dive on Gibraltar, meta right out of the gate, and then seeing the Pioneers on this wonky looking bunker comp that I had immediate doubts for, but they just played like such a well put together team where they made it work on that map. And I was very impressed with what I saw from both teams.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to remind you that we have 5 days a week. You can catch collegiate esport action right here live at the NECC. And tonight, we are still not done. Another matchup follows us here within about, an hour or so. You're going to see hour and a half-ish. You will see Boise State, one of the biggest programs in the country, their team 2 face off against Kansas Wesleyan University. And Yelkreb, that's you, buddy. And our main man, Connor Breeze, who you've seen with me here on Wednesday nights, will do that. I'm looking forward to seeing you and Connor put another match together for game 2.
I'm excited to catch that one too. I've only heard phenomenal things about the Boise State program, so I'm really interested to see what their second team could bring out in that one.
Absolutely. It's going to be fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to say a final thank you in this segment to our partners. Thank you to our friends at Helix Esports, having some of the best looking arenas around and all that they do behind the scenes for us. Of course, our linear TV partner, you might be watching right now on ESTV, now available on Samsung TV Plus, the Roku channel, multiple other platforms, and bringing you esports action from around the globe 24/7 on their platform. And of course, our newest partner, a huge thank you to our friends at HyperX. Some of the best gear in gaming comes to the NECC. And Yelk, I know it's our first time meeting, our first time doing a game together, but I look forward to doing a lot more, man. I had a fun time with you this afternoon.
Jaron, this was a blast, man. I can't wait to do some more games with you.
Absolutely, man. Want to say a big thank you to our commissioner, Jacob Van Ryan, for all that he does for us. And, of course, in the studio tonight, Caleb Gluby, our executive producer and the director of esports here at the NECC. Huge thank you to him and all that he does behind the scenes. We know how hard he works, so it's good to see him here with us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, for Yelkreb, stay tuned for that second matchup here at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. It's going to be a fantastic matchup. And until next time, for Yelkreb, the entire NECC staff, my name is Jaron Bell, and stay beautiful, stay blessed. College esports lives here. We are the NECC. Have a great night. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Didn't even get to cross. I'm moving too far. Get to glance.
Only by frozen memories. Lost in time. Racing all these broken
Lyrics inspired by State Farm's surprisingly great rates.
But my rates like that, they're great like that, drive safe like that, I save like that, it's straight up facts, great rates.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
I can't find my way back to you until you make amends with the demons you've been through. And I can't regret leaving you alone until you find your way back home. Find your way back home. Don't let me drown. Don't let me drown. Don't let me drown. find your way back home. I can't regret leaving you alone until you find your way back home. Take me away from home. Show me all the places I've never known. And we'll chase the night. Race all of these broken dreams in flight. And we'll fly. Yeah. Up here, we're free, bound only by frozen memories, lost in time, racing all these broken dreams tonight, and we'll fly. We'll fly away, away, away. Yeah, we'll fly. Oh, we'll fly.
feel like I fought all my life for this. This one part, this 1/3 I've always missed. No, just don't let it go. I started the fight, but now I'm losing. So will I fall again? I'm scared of heights, yet it was me who ran away. Oh, I can't forget myself. The piece that I'm missing, it kills me inside. I need help. Oh, please give me back this one part, this 1/3. I'm sorry, I lost it. No, I let my weapons fall. I'm drowning in the fears, and now I know that I will fall again and let it go, but I can't stop to love.
like you were already mine. Surreal to me, how you make me feel wild and calm at the same time. Never felt so alive. Thought I was crazy until I reached out and saw your hand there waiting for mine, like the stars had all aligned. I lay beside today, tonight, your vibe, desire, our eyes on fire. And I breathe your aura, can I leave your aura? You have me like gravity. You don't have to try it, it's just like a magnet. You have me like gravity. You have me like gravity. You have me like gravity. You just like it's like it's just like a magnet. confession that you're my obsession. You're pulsing through me. The blood is rushing and I am trusting you'll come save me. My knees are feeling weak. Your body's close to me. I want you to come rescue me.
Welcome to the NECC Esports. Tonight we have an Overwatch Champions Division match here between Boise State 2 and Kansas Wesleyan. I just want to give a huge shout out to our sponsors, ESTV, the NFL Alumni Association, Helix Esports, and HyperX for our sponsorship opportunities. Go ahead and follow our social medias on Twitter and Instagram at NECC Games. 5 days a week we have collegiate esports streams right here at twitch.tv/NECC_esports. Tonight, I am Connor Breeze, and with me is Yo Kreb. We are going to be your two announcers for this evening. Now, this is a Champions Division match here. You know, you casted a game earlier today. What do you have, for expectations going into this next match here tonight?
Well, I think what I saw in the last match was a lot of utilization of dive comps. So in this Champions match too, I'm looking to see a lot more of those dive comps. Those, some might say, a little more advanced comps because they're definitely faster paced. So I'm looking to see the tanks really mix it up on some mobile heroes tonight. What about you, Connor?
I am definitely going to look for a lot of team fights here. A lot of team play, lots of combining their ultimates, working together to get those huge plays moving forward, to get those massive team kills early on, and just seeing how these two teams clash at point every time. Now, first match here is looking like we're going to go into Gibraltar Watch Point. What are some things that you're going to have to look out for on this map?
Long sight lines. If either team has a Widowmaker, they're going to be in heaven, especially on that third point. If you're attacking, you can get up on that right side catwalk. So a lot of things you can do with the sight lines. You can run Widowmakers, and Yada comps aren't too bad on this map, but it's going to be a lot of high mobility and maybe some snipers, maybe some Sombras in the mix. The meta is all over the place right now, so you can really see teams pull up basically any trick in the bag.
You said a lot of high mobility. That makes me think dive going into this map here. Maybe a Winston Diva combination for the tanks. Something moving forward where they'll be able to jump on those Widows to counter them very quickly and kind of take control of the high points of the map. But I'll be very interested to see how the attacking team goes about moving this payload forward. Now, another thing that we want to look out for while we're moving through here tonight is definitely some high-level players coming out of each team. I wonder how, who's the shot caller for each team and how those players are going to bring their team together and work as a unit. If a team doesn't have a good shot caller and they're not working as a unit, things can fall apart. They'll get split pretty easily. What are some things that, you would want to see moving forward out of either the main tanks, the supports, whoever the shot caller is? What do you think you'd want to be hearing from them tonight, getting ready for this game?
Yeah, communication is everything. So as a main tank who's played on like a few competitive teams, what I do a lot is call very specifically the natural cover that I'm sitting on in the map. So on the first point, you've got the forklift on the very back left side of the point if you're defending. So I'll say that we got to fall back to forklift or something like that. But you want to use those kind of call-outs so your team stays, as in formation as possible, or just so you don't have to turn around to realize where your team is. You kind of just want to say a call-out, have your team be there, and then just play with the confidence where you know that your team is in the right position.
A good main tank calling out their positioning and what they're doing is very important. Now, what are we seeing out of these two teams here? What do you think about their compositions?
Well, Kansas Wesleyan, the Coyotes, they're going to be on the double bubble, it looks like, on defense. That's the Zarya Winston tank line. So it's a very Great tank line if you're trying to be mobile and also have some good longevity in your fights. If it starts to kind of drag on, the Zarya can build up charge and do more damage as the fight goes on. And then Viking on the Winston pick can just get anywhere and everywhere at any time. And he can be coupled with Crazy on that Somber pick and Brodell on the Reaper and just mark down anything with a hack and burst through it. But we got the full dive comp coming out of Boise State on the red side, and I'm looking to see what these tanks can do. It's going to be a battle of the Winstons, and I'm excited to see it.
Like I was saying earlier, these dive comps are coming out early. Reaper seems to be very prevalent in these matches that I've seen.
Now, Reaper played a lot in the last game I casted too, and Brodell's going to open things up with a 2K onto Icy and Narbles. Frost on the Somber pick, getting in the action, taking out Tiny Warrior, but Quadruple goes down last. The Diva demeched by Brodell, who's been on a tear so far, already at 70% to that first Death Blossom. Narbles, the opposing Reaper, only at 8%, so clearly a bit of a frontline difference going on so far. Boise State, though, moving this cart forward.
These teams look very split right now. I'm curious to see how they're going to pull it back together. It looks like Kansas is finally regrouping back their end with the Sombra in the background here, getting a big hack off on the Lucio, preventing payload from moving forward. You know, that's some great work in the background, slowing things down for Kansas.
Yeah, and then you saw that other hack onto Viking, the main tank for Kansas Wesleyan, and he was bursted down, tried to tuck into that right side room with the mini health pack, but eventually just got bursted far too quickly. And now you see Brodell already has that Death Blossom online, and we've got a few ultimates coming online as well for Boise State. EMP almost in play. Pleb's got that Coalescence, and Quadruple almost has that Diva Bomb. So this could be a very colorful and explosive fight. It's opened up by a Coalescence as Pleb is immediately hacked out of it by Crazy, and then the EMP gets dropped by Frost, and now it's a total mix-up as Narbles unleashes the Death Blossom that takes out 3. And with 4 members down, Kansas Wesleyan is clawing for answers as this cart will reach the end of the first point here on Gibraltar.
EMP Death Blossom is such a devastating composition in this game right now. You know, being able to take away your shields, take away your mobility, and then absolutely unleash Hellfire raining down from above with that Reaper. Especially with the self-sustain, the self-healing that Reaper gets while he's doing damage. The more damage he does, the more healing he gives himself. So when no one on the other team has any cooldowns to cancel that Death Blossom, and it can just go on in the middle of 5 people, it's going to be effective. It's an absolute knockout punch of a combo. Right. It looks like Primal's going on the top end of the ship here, trying to contest that area and bring it back, you know, get the team split up a little bit, make some room for his team, kill some time, and get everybody back together here. What do you think about this Zarya pick coming out of Kansas?
I think right now it's getting a little bit battered. It seems like the tempo is all in the favor of this Winston Diva comp that Boise State is running, just with that extra mobility cooldown and with the defensive matrix to cancel out the damage that Brodell is trying to do. It's really proving to be effective, and the tanks are just all over the place right now as Diva and Winston, Icy and Quadruple go in, and they just clean up the final 2 kills, and they're not done yet. They still got their foot on the gas. They're pushing all the way into spawn. They want to kiss the spawn door as they remove Crazy and Pizza Lover and Viking from the equation. Look at that. All the way to 3rd point spawn. 4:50 on the clock. Boise State is on a roll.
You gotta love when teams have that aggression and they take that momentum and they run with it, leaving a support on the payload just to keep it moving while they push the other team to the spawn doors, like you said. You know, that kind of aggressive gameplay can really shake up another team and really slow things down for them.
A massive combo comes in as the bomb and Death Blossom are dropped simultaneously with the EMP. That one was counted down perfectly as 5 members of Kansas Wesleyan are erased immediately. 4:20 on the time bank. This one is pushing quickly into the 3rd point. Boise State showing a strong attack here. And now Kansas Wesleyan, the Coyotes are coming out the right side of spawn, looking to posture up a dive, but the Winston on Boise State is making it difficult. The EMP comes through. Crazy goes down immediately after calling it in. Pleb and Narbles going down. The Reapers trade out as Brodell falls to Quibble. That is a tough name to say. Let me tell you, Connor. But Viking is going deep with this primal range. He is not done yet. This fight is not over. It's a long, drawn-out dive, having a lot of trouble focusing down squishy targets, but Tiny Warrior falls. And it looks like the beat drop will come through, stabilizing the defense just a tad. Viking still just rip-roaring on this Winston pick, trying to get into the back line and make something happen, but too many members of his team, the Boise State, are going down, and this is going to finally be a good hold for Kansas Wesleyan.
Yeah, Kansas had that great EMP there. You know, they couldn't match it up with their Death Blossoms. Their comms were a little off there. They weren't quite in sync for that combination, but that EMP definitely got a couple members from Boise picked, and then that slowed down momentum and slow team fight moving forward.
Boise State gobbles up that Graviton Surge, and that just takes all the wind out of the sails of Kansas Wesleyan as they are shoved back on this defense, completely on the back foot, trying to trade sides with the attacking team. But the Broncos are overpowering the Coyotes right now. The point nearing the finish line, even making it out just in the nick of time, but CC'd away from the cart, and that's going to be at 2 minutes 42 seconds on the clock. And again, just a very successful dive comp ran by the Broncos.
Now, you know, after watching that first round, it's clear that something needs to change for Kansas. You know, if you were Kansas right now, what would be your biggest change to their composition or to their gameplay style that you would make right now to kind of turn things around for this second round?
I think they're doing a lot of things great. You saw Crazy cancel the Coalescence from Pleb. The Sombra's getting value there. Reaper is doing great burst damage too, but I think it's the off tank being on the Zarya pick instead of the Diva. You saw on that very last fight of the map where the Graviton Surge was eaten. That's the most valuable thing that Zarya can provide for her team. And when the Diva just gobbles it up in a Matrix, it really just nullifies the value there. So yeah, we're going to see Tiny Warrior throwing on a Diva pick here. Viking is on a Roadhog. He might be tricking us. I'm not quite sure. But
you know, two off tanks, definitely an interesting combination here. With some people that can go head to head, like Reaper can go head to head with a Roadhog pretty effectively. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, how this dual off tank setup works for them.
I'm expecting Viking to end up on the Winston pick. I think he's just having some fun lollygagging in spawn right now, but with Brodell on Reaper and Crazy on the Sombra, that's a very high mobility comp. So I'm not quite sure what job Viking's trying to get done on Roadhog. If he stays on it, that's a miracle. If he can make it work, that's an absolute dream come true. He's coming out the gate on Roadhog. So Hog Diva, you were right. This is what we're going to see. 2 off tanks. I was so wrong. Goes right back. He's on Winston now. The world makes sense.
Great damage orb eaten by Boise there on the top right, kind of picking out their location, finding where they were. Great, you know, minor support plays that are really giving their team a lot of information there.
And Boise is on this top high ground, otherwise known as Heaven. That's what it's called in the Gamerverse. But they just play this dive comp like it's a brawl. They're staying together, grouped up as 6, and they burst through Brodell and Viking, the 2 cut down simultaneously with that quick dive. Tiny Warrior also getting demeched by Frost, and right now the Broncos are on an absolute tear on first point.
You know, taking advantage of Reaper being slightly away from their team there, you know, being able to dive straight onto him and really take away that high tank hazard, essentially, from Kansas was a big first pick there. You know, takes away a lot of that burst damage, a lot of his sustain. You know, he can be very difficult for a Winston or Diva to deal with on their own, so diving them as a unit is very effective here, especially with their composition.
Yeah, and we see why Sombra is such a great hero in this dive comp too, because she's not doing it right now. She's playing with her team, but she can play counter dive where she sits in her own team and gets a valuable hack off, or she can scout an enemy with her invisibility, and then they can just get the tanks right on top of them and have that unknown third member, the Sombra, playing DPS, bursting them down. But right there, a back dive by the tanks from Boise State. The pulse bomb could be huge. Diva escapes flying to the skybox. The Death Blossom from Narbles comes through, finds at least Tiny Warrior on the Diva. They roll through Deadly Kawhi and Brodell as well. And Boise State able to stabilize despite giving up a lot of ground with this card.
You know, that Tracer pick as well out of Kansas, you know, they're doing a great job of being in the back line, being a nuisance, getting the tanks to turn around, and it's staying alive for the most part, but the picks just aren't coming off with that Tracer. You know, they're not able to get any good one clips in right now. Moira's able to fade away. Good EMP there from Boise as well. That could turn that fight into a very bad situation for Kansas.
Yeah, right now, Boise State, they just really seem like they're on the same page, man. I mean, this dive comp seriously is playing like a brawl comp that can just move around quicker. You're seeing all 6 members of this Boise State team being in relatively the exact same area of the map, so the comms must be crystal clear. The main tank just must be hollering at his team right now, keeping them all in line, but they're doing a fantastic job on this dive comp.
You know, this dive comp, I'm starting to see more and more being played, you know, out of the teams in our division or just kind of open match ranking and things like that. So it's very interesting to see a composition that works the way that this comp does. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, and we're seeing a dive comp too where it's the only difference in these comps is the Somber and the Tracer, so you can kind of see what difference is being made where Frost gets these incredibly valuable EMPs off when his team is just on the brink of losing a fight. Right now, Viking is rolling into the backline and he's running out of resources. The shield gets broken, the Death Blossom comes through, and Brodell finds Marbles. The Reaper erased for Boise. But again, the Reaper erased for Kansas Wesleyan as the bomb takes out Brodell. Winston Bubble in the heart of the point negates a lot of the healing, a lot of the damage that can be done onto Kansas Wesleyan, but the Coyotes stand strong on the server and through an EMP. They lose Viking. Are they going to lose anyone more? Deadly Kawhi goes down. The Pulse Bomb comes up empty. And right now, it is a 3-on-6 battle. A tough one to claw back. Pizza Lover goes down, and with 2 left, I don't know. It's looking like Boise State has got this one in the bag. Kansas Wesleyan picking its strings. 6 seconds winding down on the clock. The tanks take the high ground. Somber and Reaper are up there with them. The death ball that is this mobile dive comp erases Viking one last time. And Boise State locks in Gibraltar.
You know, that was a lot of big plays coming out of that first round, but let's take a look at the play of the game and see what was the biggest.
Play of the game.
Oh man, haven't seen any Reaper plays tonight. Narbles. Oh, I'm sure he just spun through everyone right there.
You know, big Q plays, maybe possibly a combination with that EMP that we were talking about earlier. You know, a lot of good things come with combining their ultimates together with EMP and something else that does lots and lots of damage, maybe Diva Bomb, maybe Death Blossom. You know, what do you think is, you know, the biggest game plan, the biggest change that Kansas is going to make coming into New Bondi in this next map?
Well, they've got to find a way to answer the dive. We saw in the last game that got streamed, they threw on a Bastion, and that was the perfect answer. I mean, nothing burst down a dive comp like the Sentry that is Bastion. He can just cut through anything in the game with that burst damage as long as he's supported properly. So I'm looking to see something like that, maybe a turret or builder defense. But as far as attack goes, I think you just got to run the better dive. That seems to be the meta on New Bonnie. It's a map with so many high grounds all through the map except for third point. And I don't know. I think right now Boise State just looks so clean on that dive. It's going to have to be some crazy defensive strat thrown out of the window from Kansas Wesleyan to put a stop to it.
You know, if I were them and I was playing defense here, you know, a double shield with a Bastion does seem like a good way to go here. Maybe throw a Baptiste in for that immortality field. You know, have a Mercy for that damage boost and res capabilities. You know, it's something that you can really hunker down in the back line and really shut down any dive members that are stray from the rest of their team. That could be a very, very dangerous defense composition that they could be playing on this map.
Ready for battle.
Yeah, you're definitely right. And it looks like out of the spawn, we're going to see the Coyotes on the Monkey Zarya once more. So choosing for that double bubble comp, I'm not sure this map is the one for it. Gibraltar favors it a little more, but honestly, this is a very dive heavy map like we were just talking about. And it seems like Boise State runs this dive at such a high speed that the cooldown time in between Zarya's bubbles maybe just isn't enough. And it seems like the Diva can just kind of provide a little bit more value as the fight is going on.
It also looks like they're going to be running an Ana instead of a Moira here. Slightly different in the dive comp. Still can be good as long as that Ana is playing good sight lines, hitting good sleeps when necessary. You know, maybe not, maybe being able to sleep that Somber when she comes by, or hitting huge anti-nades when they're getting dove on. Those can all be big, big differences, but the Ana's got to stay alive for that to happen.
Yeah, right now this dive comp looking to posture up on the top left side. A tough staircase to get through, but there's not a lot of pressure there right now. And you can see Icy on the low ground looking to pounce. The Winston diving in, counter diving on the Viking. Deadly Kawhi and Crazy get erased immediately. Crazy looks to be booped off the map as Quibble is just having a monster game right now on this Diva. Seems to be doing everything. Right now, he's locked in on Viking, erases him. Pizza Lover, the last one, hopping around on the point. Easy work right now for the Boise State Broncos as they will take first point with a large time bank.
Their dive is just so coordinated right now. Every time that they start to get split up, you know, I'm assuming whoever their shot caller is calling them back to the main target and bringing them back together, really helping them push forward as a unit and be able to take those, you know, 6v1s basically and eliminate Kansas very, very quickly.
And a couple of early trades coming through by this bus make it a very interesting 5 versus 5 fight, as the teams are going to have to use their resources very scarcely. The Winston Bubbles trade right on this corner as both teams are hard engaged. Diva Bomb flies in and finds a double kill, erasing Tiny Warrior and Pizza Lover. And now Boise State is barreling into this left side room, taking out Viking as they go, trying to track down this Reaper who teleports to safety, at least for now. Deadly Kawhi also managing to get out, but that was a very effective dive right on that left side corner.
Who needs any other movement keys besides W, am I right?
Exactly. The fight's in front of us. Let's go there. Interesting to see how they're going to set up. Interesting to see how this fight is going to pan out here. As it looks like one team is looking for a pause. Maybe some connection issues or something going on. We seem to have a disconnect on the side of Boise State.
That's unlucky. I've been in that position before, and having one of your teammates crash in the middle of a match is not a good feeling to have. You know, having somebody, you know, disconnect, have to rejoin, it slows your momentum down. It really brings things to a pause. So, you know, this might be a good opportunity for Kansas here to really get themselves together, have a nice little meeting with each other, and figure out, you know, how they want to move forward, and, you know, really take their time to plan out their next position and the next moves moving through this match.
And it was Quidjable who disconnected for Boise State, so they will lose the alt progress on the Diva Bomb. Luckily, they had just used it in the fight prior, so they won't lose too much progress. They won't be set too far back. The pause ends up resuming, and Pleb finds almost an insta-kill after we resume here onto Brodell, taking out that Reaper. And now the Winston for Boise State can just do whatever he wants, not having to worry about that first damage. EMP comes through on the backline, and the dive follows up in quick fashion. Look at this team just barreling in to the Kansas Wesleyan Coyotes. Viking doesn't know what to do. He's on the back foot. Brodell goes down again. Looked to be almost spawn camped by that Sombra, as Boise State is just not letting off the pressure right now. The card's not even moving. They're taking the fight.
I was going to say they almost left the cart behind to not touch point, and that could have been very bad for them if they let Kansas retake possession. They could have been moving back meters at a time. It's a good thing that Sombra was on top of it, got back, you know, finally brought that cart back to point to get that next touch. 5 minutes on the clock.
DPS going in, flanking so early. Reaper popping the Blossom. Narbles finding at least 2. Make it 3. Viking the third one to go down. Brodell finds 1, but coming up relatively empty with his Death Blossom. That will be a few interesting trades and long walks from spawn that Boise State will have to go through, but it seems like the defense is still far from stabilizing here on third.
Diva's defense matrix there really saved Boise from being down multiple people there. You know, that the ability to eat ultimates and incoming damage is massive potential from Diva, and Diva's doing the best job that Diva can of eating all that damage for their team, really keeping them in this fight.
The B drop counters the attack visor, but the Graviton Surge coming in after will make it a tough task for Boise State to get through and finish this third point. Ryla and Delicio going down for the Broncos. Diva Bomb coming in over the top, finds Tiny Warrior, but will it be enough? Only 3 members of the Broncos are left on the point, and it is 5 looking to stabilize here for the Kansas Wesleyan defense. They will remove Icy, they will remove Pleb. Quidjable looking to get out alive, but ends up being demeched right at the buzzer. Still 4 minutes on the clock here, though. Boise State has plenty of time to change their strategy and get this attack to the finish line.
Great stagger there by Kansas, you know, taking Diva out of her mech, giving her a few seconds, you know, to stay alive and, you know, kill as much time as possible before finishing her off, making her come back from spawn. You know, really saving as much time as they can to shave that clock down.
What I'm looking to see here is they want to set up this EMP and get Kansas Wesleyan grouped up as tight as possible. So they're looking to dive past this Winston more than likely. And the EMP comes through into the back line, and the peel just isn't there. It seems like Kansas Wesleyan is too split up for this fight. Brodell goes down quickly. Tiny Warrior demeched in a flash. Lucio for Boise State falling in the background, but Narbles with another Death Blossom chunks a lot of damage into Viking, who's primaling around on the point, trying to find a kill onto the Sombra, juggling her into the back line. But Icy with a kill onto Deadly Kawhi makes this one a tough one to get back for Kansas Wesleyan. The point with only a few meters left until the finish line. And a big Death Blossom coming up from Brodell removes Ryla, but Brodell is brought down almost instantly. This Diva Bomb over the top will take a lot of space away and find the kill onto Crazily. And oh man, the Broncos, they're looking good here. They've got 5 alive, 5 on cart. zooming around the point right now, cleaning up everything. The Winston Viking just trying to get that last touch in, but Connor, I don't know, it's still really anyone's game. These spawns are in the favor of Kansas Wesleyan.
Kansas is doing a good job coming back with ultimates, you know, pushing onto that point. Lucio doing Lucio things, flying around that point. Soldier hoping to get a touch, but gets dove by the Winston Diva, pushes him back, and that'll do it for Boise State. Round 1 complete.
Yeah, honestly, not a bad hold. He got the time bank down to under 2.5 minutes, and we were seeing it above 5 when that second point was initially capped, so Kansas Wesleyan kind of found their stride a little bit on the end there, but they will have to mount a very successful attack if they want a shot at this one in overtime.
Yeah, and you know, something else I'd like to talk about is the EMPs. You know, it's not just enough that they're EMPing multiple people on Kansas, but they are EMPing Moira while she's actively ulting, taking Coalescence away immediately, taking away Winston and Winston's dive, taking away the Zarya bubbles. You know, they're waiting for them to have cooldowns and removing them from the game as they EMP, you know, making sure that they're taking out as many ultimates and as many cooldowns as possible before they dive in, which I think is a great use of that EMP.
Yeah, definitely. And like you were saying, they're not just making them vulnerable targets, but they're taking away so much of the value that it looks like Kansas Wesleyan is trying to get. Like you said, canceling the Moira ults or actively, you know, removing Winston's ability to jump while he's primaling around, and then he just becomes a giant ult battery. So Ryla was really on top of her game, had great timing with those EMPs, and I'm really impressed overall with how this dive comp plays. But it looks like we're going to see a Torb on defense mixed in with dive tanks. What do you think about that, Connor?
I think that is a very interesting combination. They also looks like they have an Ashe here, a huge Bob potential, but it looks like Kansas has an Echo now moving forward. That can be an issue with that Torb turret if it's not taken out quickly. You know, that little bit of damage from time to time can be tough for those flying characters.
And the tanks of the Coyotes go right in for this high ground, but it's not easy positioning to take. Tiny Warrior pays the price and goes down to Quidgible. And it looks like it's going to be a high ground hold for the Boise State Broncos all the way here, as this is one of the strongest positions in all of Overwatch to set up these dive tanks on.
Quick switch off Echo back to Soldier there. You know, just they noticed that team fight was not something that they wanted to deal with the Ashe and the turret, so they quickly switched to Soldier. You know, something that I feel that they might have thought that they were more comfortable with, something that might have worked better for their composition. You know, get those little burst damages off with his missiles. You know, it might be something very useful for them. So good switch there.
You see the tanks of the Coyotes just going into point, trying to get some progress and put pressure on Boise State to just get their tanks off the high ground and actually touch the point so they don't concede a tick. Viking drops down and then goes right back up to the high ground and removes not one, but 2 members of Kansas Wesleyan. And now Narbles throws out the Bob, uses that Ashe ultimate, and cleans up everything else on the point.
Bob is such a great tool for contesting point. He has a lot of health. He doesn't go away very quickly. You know, even if you sleep him or hack him, he can still be on point touching. So he is very good at contesting point and giving out lots of burst damage, kind of denying an area for the other team, you know, making it more and more difficult to deal with.
Bob has great accuracy too, Connor. I mean, that man just does not miss.
He just doesn't miss.
Bob's all over it. Right, Viking going into the backline, trying to jump right on the Pleb's head. Closes the distance effectively, but Pleb gets that crucial healing nade and stays alive. Molten Core comes out as well. 4 right onto the high ground and the other 5 onto the point, taking away all the effective space from the Coyotes. And this Torb turret and the Ana are undealt with up on this high ground still. It seems like Kansas Wesleyan closes the distance, knows they have to take away the presence on the high ground, but then they get kicked off the high ground, end up on point, and they don't quite know how to get back up there, it seems.
Yeah, that dive was great onto the Ana, you know, made Ana use her sleep and her nade. You know, both very big utility items and abilities in this game. You know, they can definitely turn fights around, so taking that away off rip is always a good way to go. And they even ended up picking the Ana, but was rezzed by Mercy. You know, they're diving the right targets, they just need to be able to finish.
They go in again here. Coach gunned away is the Winston. Diva closes the distance but gets demeched. Deadly Kawhi falling as well, and with 2 picks already, it looks like a tough one to finish here for Kansas Wesleyan. But the tack fire is a good pop. Can't find any value. Crazy does take out the Torb turret, but gets brought down by Quidgible. Again, this Diva player for Boise State has been everywhere on this defense. Top right, top left, on point, preventing them from getting any ticks although it looks like the Coyotes were successful in mustering a tick that time. So,
If I had to pick as of right now, the most valuable player to me is definitely that Diva player right there. That Diva plays has been fantastic. Good eats, eating ultimates, eating, death blossoms, eating all the incoming damage, being able to fly around where needed, peel for the supports, doing great things as that, off-tank role.
Narbles has done great things as well for Boise State on the Reaper pick, and now showing a little flexible hero pool as they hop onto the Ash pick. And they've been removing Viking from a lot of fights this game, using that coach gun as a way to peel for their team, booping the dive away and creating a lot of space for this defense to just kind of get a strong footing every single play. Ryla getting the torture kill on the deadly Kawhi. It's going to make things tough here as overtime begins to bleed down. Bob is on the point turret, crossfiring beautifully. The Torvald is out there as well, denying effective space. Tiny Warrior bombs in desperation, but it comes up empty, and that is everyone removed in a map 2 win for Boise State.
Boise State just dominating this match here tonight. Lots of great uses of their mobility, lots of great uses of their tech. Let's see what play of the game looks like here coming from Rayla.
Yeah, look at how carefully they're positioning this Torb ultimate too, and then finding a very cheeky body shot kill onto Pizza Lover. That Lucio player unfortunately walks right into that rivet, and not missing shots with the gun, has their ultimate in an excellent spot. That's just phenomenal Torb play right there from Ryla.
Now, let's not forget, we do play the third match. Is that correct? I believe we play the third match. We have somebody leaving the game now. Yep, all right, so we just have somebody leave. They're subbing in currently. It looks like Frost is getting subbed back in for Boise, or for Narbles. And it looks like they're going to Busan for this next match. Now, I just want to say one more time, thank you to our sponsors, ESTV, NFL Alumni Association, Helix Esports, and HyperX for our sponsorship opportunities. Go ahead and follow our social media, Twitter and Instagram at NECC Games. 5 days a week, we have collegiate esports streams right here at twitch.tv/NECC Esports. And we can get back into the match today. It looks like people are getting ready. It looks like Narbles has been subbed out into the spectator position. What do you want to see moving forward here out of Kansas, out of Boise? What do you think is coming forward in this next game here?
Well, Connor, what I want to see out of Boise is them to change nothing at all, because I've yet to see a dive comp run this clean by any collegiate team, and I've gotten the chance to see a lot of very high-ranked ones play, and this one seems to be in very good form. And this is Boise State too, by the way, so this is a real heavyweight of this championship, or this champions bracket, rather. And Kansas Wesleyan, I mean, they've got to be a little more collected when it comes to their second dive in a team fight. The first one is usually a success, and then I think I said one time last map that it seems like they run out of steam and don't know what the next move is mid-fight once the ball gets rolling, and it seems like that's where the difference is made, as the tanks on Boise really just seem calm, cool, and collected, and they make great decisions as the game is moving forward.
Also look like they've spent a lot of time, making sure that their ultimates are coming together properly, matching the same two ultimates with each other, and you see the same things over and over and over again. You'll see a Coalescence as a saving ult rather than a attacking ult. You'll see a lot of different things being used the same way in every team fight, and that just takes lots of practice and coordination from these teams, something that they run over and over and over again throughout the week, making sure they have it down and making sure they have it together for every single time they go through that motion.
Yeah, definitely. And getting into Busan too, I said this on the last cast, but Control is a much more deathmatchy kind of game mode, so the tanks usually don't have as much value as the DPS do in this game mode, but the tanks have been the difference maker for Boise State, and it seems like the DPS on Kansas have been very strong, so maybe we'll see a little bit of the scales tipping in the favor of Kansas Wesleyan in this map. We're going to open up on a very open map, a very dive-heavy map, so I'm looking to see a strong Boise State attack on this one. We've got the Busan drum map coming up, and I'm interested to see in what the DPS pick. Torb is a good pick, but with Narbles getting subbed out, it's unsure who would play that hero on this map. Still a lot of sight lines. Snipers like Ash, Widow, Hanzo, they all look great on this map. What do you think, Connor?
Ready for battle.
I think what you're saying is exactly right, and it looks like Boise's coming out with the same game plan they keep saying over and over and over again. It also looks like Kansas is coming back with the Tracer and now has a Doomfist. You know, Doomfist has that high pick potential there, able to one-shot a lot of the lower health heroes in this game and get out safely. You know, has a lifesteal effect ability. You know, it's a lot of dangerous one-shot combinations that you'll have to look out for from that Doomfist. But I'll be very interested to see how this plays out on this close quarters but open map here.
Yeah, and like you said, this is a fairly open point, which means there's not a lot of walls this Doomfist can actually punch you into. So I'm unsure where they're going to get that value. If Boise stays in this room right now, though, it's going to be very dangerous. Doomfist can get a ton of value in here. So I'm looking to see this dive posture quickly onto the point and then just explode onto this Boise State team. But it looks like Boise State will be the team that closes the distance. The Reaper and the tanks move in. Doomfist uppercutting the D.Va, trying to deny some space from her, but Quidgible just ends up getting into the backline and scaring Kansas Wesley and Anna. And it's looking like Deadly Kawhi, the first one to go down. Pizza Lover going down as well. Jinx, the third one to fall, as it's really starting to become a snowball here for Boise State. They jump it onto the Winston, the Baby D.Va, and the Tracer are the last ones alive, and they're fighting for their lives as Crazy goes down, Viking the last one to fall.
You know, it's like we've said over and over and over again, this team is coordinated. They're diving the same targets at the same time, you know, getting a lot of value out of their team mobility. And, you know, it's just something Kansas is having a hard time competing with tonight. You know, maybe it's some of their picks, maybe they're just some things aren't working for them, but they're going to be able to watch a lot of film and make a lot of tweaks coming for this next week.
Yeah, and just looking at Jinx, the Ana player for Kansas Wesley, and just looking at their point of view, you can see once this Boise State dive engages, that Ana is put under so much pressure, immediately just gets tackled by those tanks. They counter the movement cooldowns from the Kansas Wesleyan tanks. They go in right as Kansas tanks commit to their jump, so there's no peel available for Kansas, and the backline is erased. Viking, Kawhi, and Pizza Lover all going down. The point nearly flips, but will be held here by Boise State.
And something I'm noticing from that Kansas Ana is, you know, the Sombra is going in for the hack, you know, trying to take that away. But, you know, there is a pretty significant audio cue that you're going to get when Sombra decloaks and starts with the hack. So, you know, maybe it's enough time to get around, try to get a lucky nade off just to stop the hack, or a lucky sleep off if you're really coordinated and ready for that hack. But it's something that you should definitely be prepared for moving forward as an Ana, and making sure that your teammates keep your sleeps on the ground, you know, turning a fight from a 6v6 to a 6v5 very quickly.
Oh, Quidgible just gets a triple kill with that D.Va bomb, throwing it in very late. Icy was primaling things around, CCing them and booping them all over the place, and I think a couple of them ended up getting outside of that building because of that primal range, and they ended up in the path of that D.Va bomb. Crazy, the only one on point touching right now, as overtime begins to bleed down. I don't believe anyone of the Coyotes will make it to the point as Deadly Kawhi goes, and it looks like point one goes to Boise State.
That it does. You know, I'll give it to Kansas. They are not giving up. They're still coming back team fight after team fight after team fight, making sure that they're giving it all they got. And, you know, and they're doing a really good job of not giving up, not picking throw picks, you know, not wasting their lives, and still trying to come back as a unit, you know, not stagger themselves, and work really hard to try to put something together here. And that's what you want to see from the team.
Yeah, and we're on to this other boost on point. This one is Mecha Base, and if you look at the point right now, you can just see both sides. One side on coast, there's a catwalk, and on the other side, there's just this very big prevalent high ground with these pillars that cut off the sight lines as well. Dive comps can navigate around this very easily, and they've got a lot of natural cover to work with as they jump in. Pizza Lover disconnects on the side of Kansas Wesleyan, so a brief pause here coming through before we start this round. But Connor, what do you think that Kansas Wesleyan has to change in order to just start countering this dive comp, or at least keeping up with it?
Yeah, the first thing I'd probably think of is, you know, either those counter picks to deal with the Sombra, or, you know, being able to deal with that D.Va. I think that Zarya, although is very, very strong in brawl comps, especially with Reinhardt or other in-your-face comps, dive is a little more difficult in this kind of game right now, just because there's a lot more that can go wrong compared to with a D.Va. You know, Tracer's also not getting as much value as Tracer could be against this composition, you know, not being able to get those one clips in because of their character choices. You know, Lucio and Moira, the two supports, are very, very mobile, so it's much harder for a Tracer to get those one clips off versus, let's say, an Ana. Or a Zenyatta. You know, there's a lot of things there that, you know, you're just not getting as much value as the character has to offer based on what the other team is playing as. And those are things to look into of what do you have in your arsenal that can play well against these other characters, and, you know, taking that into consideration when moving forward.
And you also see that this entire time, Boise State has been on the Moira Lucio, which a lot of people view as a brawl support comp, usually supporting Reinhardt's, but in this game, it's been supporting their Winston player and speed boosting the Winston, the Diva, and the Reaper around the map incredibly quickly. And on the side of Kansas Wesleyan, we've had the Ana and we've had the Mercy for most of this game. And those are two supports who, although Ana has great cooldowns in order to peel for herself if she can hit a sleep dart or land a nade, and Mercy has that dash ability, they just kind of traverse the map in a more vulnerable and predictable way than Moira and Lucio. So they're generally easier targets to dive, and Boise State is just having the time of their life playing into it right now. Out of the choke here, we've got Tiny Warrior just trying to posture some space to take it away, but Crazy goes down. Pizza Lover falling as well as the Lucio gets in the offensive mix here for the Broncos. And it looks like Icy will be slept, an awfully tired Reinhardt in the heart of that choke, but all the space effectively taken for Boise State as they will get the first cap on this mecha-based point.
And Boise, you know, playing something other than dive here, you know, getting a nice little Reinhardt brawl comp in here is always something nice to see. You know, they have Frost playing Doomfist. They have a great punch off on Tracer early on, you know, getting that first pick like Doomfist usually like to do. You know, they're doing a very good job of holding this high ground, playing this door, while Diva is checking underground and making sure they're not trying to go underneath.
And like you said, they're playing this door, and now this is a Doomfist part of the map here. Pizza Lover goes down early, but Frost is just rumbling in this hallway right now, closing the distance onto the back line and just right hooking Jinx into that wall. And a little kiss onto the spawn door from the Boise State Broncos as they back this brawl comp out.
You know, Doomfist, like you said, is very, very dangerous with a lot of walls and a lot of close spaces. So having some non-mobile characters in there, Doomfist can just have his day if he doesn't get slept. But unfortunately, Kansas was not prepared for that sleep and just
huge shatter. Oh, it puts 3 onto their backs. Viking and Tiny Warrior are immediately erased. Jinx and Pizza Lover go down. The point flips. Boise State doesn't care at all. They just had the time of their life this game as Icy dropped the big slam in the hallway.
Mercy flying off, not to give any ult charge, but Kansas will have to back out here, being down one of their main healers.
Yeah, Deadly Kawhi just fluttering into the water right there to just get that spawn reset, and it looks like it'll be one more go maybe for Kansas Wesleyan as they got to get through this staircase. The Diva Bomb comes through. Reinhardt CCing with his swings, and Quidgeable finds a double kill with that bomb. Ryla and Pleb get erased. The point flips again mid-fight. Nano Reaper is beginning to be a mess for Boise State to deal with, but it looks like they will take him down. Frost getting the punch kill onto him, and now the Broncos can go back to the point and take this one back. But this is a good job by the Coyotes of just flipping the point when they can and stalling progress. They can't win the fights right now, but they are making this game go longer. Viking unsuccessfully dives in right there, but the point is still upticking for the Coyotes. It finally switches back at 80%.
The longer Kansas can take this game, the better, you know, more percentage. As long as they have one person touching that point, Boise cannot flip that point back into their control. So Tracer's doing a really good job of turning the team around and getting them at least brought off of the spawn doors for them, you know, doing a good job of flipping them around. But it's still a very hard-fought battle for Kansas here.
Yeah, and Ryla's going to shut the door right there with that Reaper ult, going to have the final say. Maybe not as Viking and Crazy jump in late. Viking jumps right over that shatter from Icy, who comes up empty, and anti-nade lands on 3 members of the Broncos. Pizza Lover confirms the kill onto Frost, but Jinx and Crazy go down, and the Reaper ult comes through, but is completely eaten up, aside from the double kill that Pizza Lover was able to find. Few members alive here. Kansas Wesleyan actually has a chance at flipping this point and stabilizing it for a bit, but Icy is tracking down Pizza Lover on this Reaper, but eventually Pizza Lover will get the kill onto Quidgeable. Icy, Pleb, and Frost left for the Broncos. Frost getting the uppercut on the Pizza Lover. And now he's in the mix with two of his teammates. Can they get this point solidified? The Doomfist Slam comes through. Graviton Surge counters everything, but everyone escapes the grab. And now Ryla is the last one alive, supported now. As the support team make it back, Devo, Quidgible getting back in, feeling for the team, and a triple kill comes through quickly for the Broncos. Death Blossom comes out, and that is it. The Broncos get the sweep. They win Busan a 3-0. But honestly, Kansas Wesleyan was just starting to find their stride at the end of the game. I'm a little upset this one's not going to go 5 maps.
It is unfortunate. Kansas had a great showing, like you said, at the very end there, being able to hold that point. But here comes a Moira Coalescence for play of the game. You know, getting through, making sure you're getting heals and damage on all the targets in front of you. Hard to see at times, but as long as you're keeping your Coalescence on the supports and on the squishy characters, you can get something done very, very effectively with a Moira Coalescence.
And Icy hit that big shatter too, so everyone was on their backs, but a great combo right there from Pleb and from Icy.
And, you know, I just like to remind chat, you know, if you're new here and you haven't followed yet, go ahead and give us a follow. We'll be doing this 5 nights a week with different games here. You know, we have shout out to our sponsors, ESTV, the NFL Alumni Association, Helix Esports, and HyperX for these sponsorship opportunities. You go ahead and follow our social media at NECC Games on Twitter and Instagram. You know, 5 days a week, like I said, we're here. We're streaming right here at twitch.tv/NECC/esports. I'm Connor Breeze. And this is Yelkreb, and this is NECC Esports. You know, it's been great talking to you tonight, and this was some great games for Overwatch tonight. And I'd be more than happy to see you with one of our casters, Jaron, tomorrow for, I believe, it's Valorant. Tomorrow's League of Legends with Ethan. And it's been a great night. It's been great talking to you guys. Yelkreb, what do you think?
Yeah, Connor, it's been a great night. Saw a couple of fantastic collegiate Overwatch games, and it really seems like Boise State has a heavyweight program in this NECC tournament, because that was a clean dive comp they ran for 3 maps, incredibly consistent, and obviously a pleasure to be here casting with you, Connor, and I'm excited as NEC keeps the ball rolling to keep on casting some great collegiate games.
You know, and I'm excited to see all the things that NECC has to bring for the future. But I'm Connor Breeze. This is my co-host Yelkreb, and that is NECC Esports. Have a great night, everybody.
See you guys.